It's official. Monster New Jersey Devils news coming out this morning that's got GM Tom Fitzgerald smiling and much of the fan base smiling. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to Devils Digest. I'm your host, Ryan the Gosiker, here with you, as always, bringing the latest, greatest Devils content and any breaking news that comes across the desk. And we have monster Luke Hughes news this morning. So, before we get into the program, I want you to be a subscriber to the channel, okay? We want to take that subscribe number and take it up from 38.9% and get it as close to 100% as possible, okay? We want you to be a subscriber. We need to reach our goal of 1,000 by opening night. That's our goal, okay? We need your help in getting there, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and let's get into the program. Now, again, as I mentioned, monster news coming out of Newark, New Jersey this morning. Luke Hughes will be a Devil for the long term, for the next 7 years to be specific, okay? Coming in at a whopping $9 million AAV. As you can see here, bringing an end to a lengthy restricted free agent negotiation. This was a headache from the beginning, okay? This was something that should not have taken this long, okay? But it certainly did. And it seems like through various reports, there was just a breakthrough last night, okay? And how all this stuff works, I'll never truly understand. I don't think any of us will, okay? Unless you're, really tight with sports agents like that and stuff, but none of us are in that room, okay? So how this ended up breaking through, I'll never know, and most of us will never know. However, Luke Hughes is going to be a Devil, 7 years, $9 million AAV. You see the Devils already officially tweeted it out. So it is just incredible for New Jersey to lock up Luke Hughes long term. Now, I say that long term. There's a lot of people that are going to be very unhappy with this number, $9 million AAV. This is actually the exact contract they gave to Dougie Hamilton when he came and signed over with New Jersey, okay? So this is one of those things where, again, leave us a comment, let us know what you think, but people are going to say, oh, he's so overpaid, what has he done? I'm going to tell you right now, and this is, you can even if you love Luke Hughes, you can be fair to admit this. He has not produced at a level that deserves $9 million a year yet. He has not produced a season in which he deserves $9 million a year. However, this contract and the timing of his free agency and everything, you are paying for what you believe Luke Hughes is going to be. And that is a risk. That is a big risk. However, you could not sit here and risk the chances that this is only, a 2-year deal and then or a 3-year deal and then you got to do this again in a couple years, or that the contracts line up with him and Jack and then they both become free agents at the same time. Okay. There's a lot of other macro level things that come with this extension as well. The other component, obviously, being the talk about wanting the third Hughes brother here. Okay. Certainly now, these two are tied to New Jersey for the next, I believe Jack's 5 or 6 years. I think it's closer to 5, and Luke is now the next 7. Okay, so it's lining up for the Devils to hopefully acquire Luke Hughes. That's seemingly what they want to do, and they seemingly now have the leverage if Quinn is a guy who wants to play with his brothers. Now, back to how this affects New Jersey. As I mentioned, it's the same deal that Dougie Hamilton got when he came over, okay, from Carolina. Again, Luke Hughes has not produced a season that requires $9 million a year. However, when you sign free agents, you are always going to overpay. Please, if you take anything from this video, you are always going to pay more for a free agent. And yes, he was a restricted free agent. Yes, there was a lot of talk. But this is how the market works. This is how the market works in every sport. We can go up and down lists of, wow, this guy shouldn't have gotten paid this guy shouldn't have gotten paid that. We can do this all day, okay? But at the end of the day, it was about getting Luke Hughes long-term, not a bridge deal, not lining up with his brother into free agency, okay? And the cap is continuing to increase, all right? Dougie will come off the books in a couple years, or probably at the end of this year, depending on if they move him or not. Okay, so the Devils, this is not going to, it should not, And this is where good GM needs to come into play. And I know how some of you feel about Tom Fitzgerald not being, the greatest GM in the world. Okay. A good GM will not let this handicap him from making moves and continuing to build a roster, especially with an increasing cap. If the cap was staying the same, or the cap was actually like maybe a minor decrease, okay, which that would be very difficult to do. But if it did, that we could have a different discussion about this. But you look at some of the money that guys are getting, okay, it's just insane. Like, again, Luke is not Kaprizov over there in Minnesota. But look at that contract. That contract's out of, like, $16 million a year. That's insane. Okay, so I think the Luke Hughes contract will have a shock effect now that I think a few years down the road, we're going to be like, okay, see, that wasn't that bad. Okay, so again, it's just a great day for New Jersey. Okay, a couple more tweets coming in about this. This is one really talking about how this kind of really came together last night, and that there was really stalling. Stalling might be the wrong word, but there was just like seemingly an impasse between the two parties, and it seemed like something got figured out. Now my question is, and I know Aiden Barrett said this in a group chat, why couldn't this get figured out on July 12th? And I don't have the answer, to be completely honest with you. Some will say the incompetence of GM Tom Fitzgerald, okay? Because the $9 million AAV, we had been hearing about since the end of the season. We've been hearing about that number, okay? So it wasn't just some fairy tale that popped up out of nowhere. We've been hearing about $8.5–9 million since before the regular season ended, okay? So this was to nobody's surprise just how slowly it took to get done. And the frustration with when, because there are people will say, well, it just got done, so it doesn't matter. But the point is, if you could have gotten this done on July 12th, Luke has, I went back to a quote that Tom had about Dawson Mercer missing 1 day of training camp last year. And I said, if you're a professional athlete, missing 1 day of training camp should not have an effect on you. Luke has missed a substantial amount of time of training camp. And what is that going to likely lead to? It's going to lead to Devils fans being frustrated when he struggles out of the gate, rightfully frustrated, when he struggles out of the gate because he's still got to get his feet under him. He's not training with these guys every day. Obviously, now that the calendar switched to October, the Devils are just a few days away from opening their season. So this was important and vital to get done. Yes, it should have been taken care of earlier from the simple fact that now you've put Luke Hughes behind the 8 ball. And Luke Hughes is not dissolved of blaming this. And really, it's more the agent and Tom Fitzgerald, right? Because these players, 9 times out of 10, they just defer to the agent and they go from there. But my point being, he's now behind the 8 ball. And if he struggles out of the gate, you're going to hear a lot about, see, this is why we shouldn't give him the contract, this, that, and the other thing. He's going to have to play catch-up now on something that could have been resolved in the middle of July. So that's what frustrates me with that, okay? And just one last thing I want to take a look at here, okay, is Puckpedia. They do a great job with salary caps and all that kind of stuff. If you look at the Devils right now, okay, their projected salary cap space is about negative $4 million, so they're over the cap by about $4 million. Okay, the simple solution right now is to put Kovacevic on long-term IR. They get his cap relief. Okay, the problem is going to be the Kovacevic injury. I do not believe is going to be season-ending. He is expected to return, so the Devils will not get his cap relief when he returns. So the Devils have to move somebody at the trade deadline, or they have to tell Kovacevic, don't even worry about it, come back next year, right? So those are really the two options New Jersey has in doing that. And the obvious trade candidates at the deadline were the obvious trade candidates in the summer. It's Andre Palat at $6 million AAV. It's Dougie Hamilton at $9 million AAV. So we'll see what New Jersey decides to do. But in recapping, Luke Hughes is a New Jersey Devil for the next 7 years. Yes, at a high point of $9 million AAV. They are paying him for what he is going to be, not what he has produced. Okay, this should have gotten done earlier. Okay, but at the end of the day, Luke Hughes is a Devil, going to be a Devil long term. And the saga has finally ended. So leave us a comment. Let me know what you think on some of those various talking points, okay? Again, not everybody's going to agree with what I have to say. That's okay. That's cool, all right? Throw it in the comments. And as always, be a subscriber to the channel. Help us reach our goal of 1,000 by opening night. We want to get that subscribe number closer to 100. And we appreciate you for listening, for watching. And, you know, it's exciting to get on here and have some really good news for you guys. And what a great way to start the day. Luke Hughes, New Jersey Devil, long term. I appreciate everybody for listening, watching, however you're consuming this content. We appreciate you. Okay? We'll catch you next time on Devil's Digest.